Hi everybody. So today's activity is all about static electricity, and the materials we're going to use are just a plain old balloon and some tissue paper. So the first thing we're going to do is take our balloon and we want to blow it up and then tie it off at this end. I like to give mine a little stretch at first. And then blow it up and tie it. If you can't do that, just have an adult or somebody at home that can help you tie it. And then what we're going to do is take our tissue paper and just break it off, and we'll rip it into small pieces. It could be like a quarter size or so, should work. And I already have a bunch of it ripped up for our demonstration here. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your balloon and you can rub it on your hair for about 10 to 15 seconds. You can rub it on your clothes, your sweatshirt. You can rub it on your couch, your carpet will work. And this time of year, when the air is dry in the winter, is a really good time for some static electricity experiments. So I'm gonna rub it on my sweatshirt here. You can hear it squeaking. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it over top of my tissue paper. I don't want to touch it to the tissue paper, but you could see it's sticking. It's holding on all by itself, and I even can make it hover out here a little bit, okay? You can then touch it down, but you can see how it's sticking out. So the reason this is working is because atoms that make up everything on the earth usually have a neutral charge, which means they're not negative. Let's stick into my shirt here. It's not positive, it's neutral, okay? It's neither. And atoms are made up of electrons, which have a negative overall charge. And I can't even pick these off very easily. They're really sticking on here. And the protons have a positive overall charge. And when we are rubbing the balloon up against your sweatshirt or your hair, you're transferring electrons from one object to the next. So if I'm rubbing them on my sweatshirt, I'm transferring some of the electrons over to my shirt. So now we don't have the same number of electrons and protons. We have less of one than the other. So this item, the balloon, may become more positive because there's more protons. And now that I put more electrons onto my shirt, this is more negative. And if you ever heard the term opposites attract, that holds true for static electricity too. So when you have a more positive charge on one object and a more negative one, they attract, okay? So that's why when you hold the balloon over top of your pieces of tissue paper, they attract, okay? So it's kind of like an unseen force, something you can't see. There's that attraction. Just like magnets attract, negatives and positives attract and they stick together. It's kind of the same thing here, but in this case it's static electricity. So you may have had some experience with static electricity. Maybe your clothes coming out of the dryer, the air in your dryer is dry obviously, and your clothes are rubbing up against each other the whole time while they're in there. When you take them out, they stick to each other because they are transferring electrons back and forth to each other. And then when you pull them apart, sometimes you can actually hear that crackling sound. So that's the static. Or if you have blankets together, especially at nighttime, and you go to pull them apart, you could see those sparks at night. Or if you rub your feet across a carpet, especially again in the wintertime when the air is dry, you're transferring electrons from one object to the next, and then you go to touch someone and you get zapped. Okay, that's static electricity as well. So you can also try some other objects at home to see if they will stick to your balloon, and they are still sticking to this balloon. You can try small pieces of string, or you can try yarn. Try plastic items and see if that would work. Just kind of observe what's happening and see which items will work with static electricity. The attraction is strong enough to pick up lighter objects, but heavier objects you might have a hard time with. So if you try a lot of lighter things, but try some heavier things and see what works. If you build up a really good charge, you might be able to move them a little bit. A really good one, if you rub your balloon onto something like your shirt or your sweatpants or the carpet, and run a stream of water and hold the balloon close to the water and see what happens. That's a really good one. You definitely have to let your teachers know if you try the one with the water. That's pretty cool. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson on static electricity, and again, test out some other items at your house to see what you can get to attract to your balloon.